So here's some real talk about Metallica. There's something I admire about them even more than the music and songwriting. It's the fact that they can do whatever they want and they don't need to explain themselves. Doing whatever you want is like the first step, but if you want to go further and achieve even greater freedom, then you don't need to explain yourself. Because as you know, there's a lot of controversy. Why is there no bass here? Why is the snare like that? Why did you sue Napster? All of those stuff, and they don't need to explain anything. Of course, they tell you the honest reason why they did it, and then they just move on with their life. They're not a band that looks in the past or regret, they just look towards the future. Let's say you buy a jet ski and people complain about it. If you need to explain why you did this and you keep defending yourself, that makes you look very weak. The Metallica way is to be honest with yourself. If you do something, whether it turns out good or not, you have to be proud of your decision. You just deal with the success, failure, decision, or mistakes and just move on with your life. You just don't care about what people think and you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Because you're so confident in your own decision and at that time you believe it was the right decision. If you're living life like that with honesty, then how can you do any wrong? They had 30 years of opportunities to remix the Justice album, but they never do that, they don't need to. They can remix Saint Anger with a better snare, but they don't need to because at that time it felt like the right decision. If you do something and you get backlash for it and you change your opinion just to please other people, then you're not being honest with yourself. But if you do something, you get backlash, but you still stand by your beliefs because you believe you're honest and genuine and you believe it was the right thing at that time, then that's what Metallica's been doing for their whole life. Because we all make mistakes, you can either cry about it or regret it, or you just don't care, accept it, and move forward. Imagine someone with all the money, fame, power in the world. If he gets criticized just a little bit, if he constantly avoids questions or defends himself, then it really comes off as insecure. Throughout Metallica's career, a lot of people try and trigger them. The comments, Dave Mustaine, but they never break. They don't one day just lose it and just bash Dave Mustaine on Twitter or something. They just really keep their cool. So many comments argue and complain about them, but they just don't care. You can say, oh, they're just good marketing people, they know what to say and not to say, but that's just being secure in yourself. Because they can separate the BS from things that are actually important, and all the BS is not important to them. Think of all of the years of the fans bashing them, Dave Mustaine trying to trigger them, saying bad things about them, but they never say anything back. They don't need to show people they're still metal or still know how to play the instruments. They don't care. And that's the highest level of freedom in anyone's life. You do something, you don't need to explain. You do something good or bad, wrong or right, you don't need to defend yourself because you're confident in yourself. Of course, this doesn't really apply to everything, you don't just cut people off without explaining. If you murder someone, it's best if you confess about it. This applies to the lighter stuff, if you make a video and people say, wow, that's so bad, why did you make it, what were you thinking? But you yourself, you saw the potential and you're proud of that project, then how could you go wrong if you're honest with yourself? Because some things take time, for example, this song, it doesn't really work for you now, but maybe in the future you'll start to appreciate it more. So the moral of the story, be honest with yourself.